Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of a 4-part video series recapping all of the winners that are going to be on Winners at War. There's a lot of spoilers in this video. I would recommend going back and watching part 1 first, really before anything else, because it sets up what you're about to watch for the next 4 parts. Nonetheless, let's jump in with winner number 6. Speaking of Yule winning in Survivor Cook Islands, could you just imagine if, like, I don't know, Parvati won that season? Well, oh yeah, and then the next winner is, in fact, Parvati Shallow. From season 16, Survivor Micronesia, Fans vs. Favorites. Perhaps Yule and Parvati chilling in a hot tub together in the Cook Islands was a prophecy.
I just realized how strong I am and just what I'm capable of. When it comes down to it, if I'm just thrown into the wilderness again, I know I can survive.
Parvati is one of, if not the most iconic female players in all of Survivor. 40 seasons strong now. She's played 3 times, and she's nearly won twice, losing to Sandra in Heroes vs. Villains, but winning on her second try in Micronesia. And of course, losing to Yule in the aforementioned Cook Islands. Parvati has a lot of history with the people on season 40. She has a ridiculously high survival rate in the game and is known for making big, explosive moves, such as playing 2 idols at once, blindsiding a string of men who all held idols, as well as rather subtle moves, blink and you might miss them, like turning down an idol on Exile Island because she didn't really need it, or throwing the final immunity challenge in a manner somewhat similar to Richard Hatch in season 1. Parvati entered Micronesia already as a big threat. Winners at War will be her 3rd time entering a season as a major threat. Parvati was targeted out of the gate as a huge flirt, capable of manipulating the guys to do her bidding.
I think we should take Parvati out first. I think Parvati is a much bigger threat as a social player than Ozzy is.
That girl needs to go. She's a way of just like roping people in, even when they don't want anything to do with her. I want to find out how to bottle that up and use it in my real life, because it's pretty powerful stuff.
Except her real strength was in bonding with the women, which would later prove to be her greatest achievement. If anything, I would say Parvati's biggest move came at the swap of this season, when she met 2 women from the opposing tribe who she instantly connected with, Natalie and Alexis. She pocketed their 2 votes and would then go on to rely on them in the post-merge once the most infamous alliance ever seen was formed, the Black Widow Brigade. Herself, Natalie, Alexis, Suri, and Amanda would go on a tear, blindsiding Ozzy, Jason, and Eric in a string of unprecedented blindsides. Also, Parvati assisted in Amanda using an idol to take out Alexis at the final 6. Parvati pulled a lot of punches, and it was her connections with these women that gave her the win in the end, as well as her final 2 opponent, Amanda, just not being very good at pitching her case to the jury. Whenever a female player is strong, intelligent, and capable of playing the game really well, they often get compared to Parvati, and subsequently voted out because of it. But now the Queen P 4.0 is back to leave another mark. Having not played since season 20, half the show's lifespan ago, I could not be more excited to see what she has in store.
The winner of Survivor Fans vs. Favorites, Parvati.
On the flip side, our next winner is very recent and relevant to the modern game. It's Boston Rob Mariano from Season 22 Survivor Redemption Island. Now, despite Season 22 being quite a while ago, Rob did return for Season 39 just recently as a mentor alongside Sandra, and so he's been very much in the public eye over the past year. That said, his winning game is widely considered one of the strongest and most dominant wins in Survivor history, and it cemented him as one of the best players to ever play. Which is also why I think he may be in trouble this time around, but I will save those thoughts for another video. Rob has played Survivor a lot. He played as a spry young lad in Season 4, but was voted off at the merge. He returned in All-Stars, but of course he lost to his future wife, Amber. And he returned in Heroes vs. Villains, but was taken out largely thanks to another future winner, Tyson, making a big strategic error. But Rob returned once more in Redemption Island as a captain player. He and Russell Hance, another returning player, each helmed a tribe full of new players, as this was a season largely circling the 2 players' rivalry. Rob was adored by his tribe, and they all looked up to him as this veteran. He was like a survivor hero in their eyes, and the Boston charm came out in full effect. He led his tribe in like a crash course in how to wreck shop, except little did they know they were not just his students, but also his soon-to-be victims. He found idols, led fantastic blindsides, and of course, routed the opposing tribe at the merge en route to a very surefire win in the final 3. It was a no-brainer of a result, but it was nonetheless impressive to see how commanding one player could be. In my opinion, Rob's greatest move was at the merge, where he entered the halfway point of the season up in numbers 7-5. However, his number 7 was shaky and could have flipped. So Rob took his strong 6 and he put all of their votes on the number 7th guy in their alliance, and the opposing 5 on the other side just voted for whoever. It didn't really matter. In a 6-5-1 vote with an opposing idol wasted to boot, Rob secured his numbers, guaranteed a final 6 death march, and ultimately impressed the rest of the cast so much in one fell swoop. Rob is one of the most powerful players in Survivor history. He's nearly won twice, if not for one vote that he lost to his wife. Some may decry it took him 4 times to win, but I say that sample size is so low it's kind of irrelevant. And 1 in 4 is pretty dang good given the field. The results don't lie, but Rob does. But will the other winners overlook his ways or snuff his torch before his little bee hat can get any momentum?
The winner of Survivor Redemption Island, Rob.
If there was ever a most straightforward path to victory for a winner, the winner of Season 23, Survivor South Pacific, may have taken it. Sophie Clark, the know-it-all, who clearly did, in this case know-it-all, won quite handily in the end as she turned the season on its head by being the only sane woman in a world gone completely mad. What happens when you find yourself fully situated in an alliance full of religious people and you yourself are anything but? Well, you get down on one knee and you pray to baby Jesus because Lord have mercy, $1 million is worth a shot to your core values if only for the next month. No, okay, but really, Sophie found herself in a dominant 5-person alliance out of the gate between Coach, Rick, Albert, Brandon, and herself. Also known as the acronym CRABS. Legit. And she rode that workhorse to the very end. The pre-merge was all about her working in a trio of Coach, herself, and Albert within the 5-person alliance, picking off the outsiders, and then gaining the numbers at the merge by flipping Cochran, the superfan who was desperately on the outs from the other tribe. Once Sophie's alliance had the numbers, it was smooth sailing to the end. Arguably, I would say that her biggest move, other than, maybe undermining Coach at the final tribal council, was just keeping her number 1 ally, Albert, in check. Albert consistently wanted to entertain the outsiders into making a big move, but Sophie shut that rhetoric down again and again. Because she didn't need big moves to win. She was at the top and nobody seemed to notice, and so why rock the boat when the waters are perfectly clear? By keeping Albert in check, she took out the opposing tribe, then picked off the outsiders of her own alliance, and then sat in the final 3 with the 2 people she intended to from very early on. And she beat them. Oh yeah, and she also beat Ozzy in the final immunity challenge. Who does that? Say a prayer to baby Jesus. Sophie gosh damn Clark does. What is that, like 5 Hail Marys for me? Anyway, Sophie, very apt, intelligent, she's good at fading into the background, doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room, but also is really smart and smart enough to have her voice heard. And there's always space for those kinds of players in a cast full of winners.
The winner of Survivor South Pacific, Sophie.
But now we get to season 24, Survivor One World, with arguably the strongest winner in Survivor history. I've certainly argued this before. Kim Spradlin played the most dominant game ever, and so to have her back is nothing shy of the GOAT, greatest of all time, coming back one more time. I fully expect Kim's reputation to precede her, which is fine because she's already done her job once. Kim played in a season divided by gender. The producers put everyone in the cast on one beach and decided to see what would happen instead of giving them 2 separate camps. As it turns out, not much happened. But that's okay. Kim formed an early 5-person majority alliance similar to Sophie from the previous season and controlled the early game like it was a piece of cake. In fact, she only went to Tribal Council once, where her alliance completely controlled the vote. After that, Kim did not return to Tribal until the merge at the final 12. That said, an important tribe swap happened when 14 players were left, and Kim was able to form cross-tribal bonds with some of the men. Together, her new tribe formed a tight alliance, so when she went into the merge, she had numbers on every side, from her original women's alliance as well as with her newly minted mixed gender alliance. And this was when the game got interesting for Kim. Suddenly, she had options. Lots of options. Options to the left, options to the right. She even had options for her options. Kim was at the center of everything, having way more numbers than she needed. She initially took out an opposing man that she didn't align with, and from there made her biggest move of the game when she used her mixed gender alliance to turn on another man at the final 11. She pitted the men against one another, which led to them taking each other out. Eventually, the men that she was working with were catching on, wait a minute, where'd all the dudes go? But by that point, it was too late. Kim had chosen to go with the women instead of the men. Not even an idol or laying claim to the island could save them, as they were basically routed from the game, all thanks to Kim. The crazy part here is that even after controlling a lot of this, Kim still was in everyone else's endgame plans. Kat, Chelsea, Sabrina, Alicia, Christina, they were all taking Kim to the end. They viewed her as a key ally. Kim was so likable and charming, disarming, and just easy to work with. She still had the pick of the litter and plenty of options for who to crush at the final tribal council. So she picked a few of the women, beat them 8-1, and yep, that was it. She crushed them with kindness. And let's face it, if you're going to get taken out in Survivor, getting crushed by Kim's kindness isn't such a bad way to go.
The winner of Survivor 1
But finally, for part 2, we get to one of my favorite winners, one with arguably the greatest story in all of Survivor. A story that was birthed through the natural state of the game. It's season 25, Survivor Philippines, and it's Denise Stapley, the only winner to attend every single tribal council on her season and still never get voted out. If that's not damn impressive, I think we'll need to redefine what it takes to be impressed. It's impressive. Denise was a part of one of the most infamous tribes in all of Survivor, the Blue Matsing tribe. They're infamous because of how bad they were at challenges. In a season with 3 starting tribes of 6, Matsing lost 4 straight immunity challenges in a row. And this tribe had a lot of fit players like Denise herself, Malcolm, and Russell Swan, a returning player captain. So Denise forms a really strong bond with Malcolm, and together the two of them run this tribe in spite of it sinking as fast as it can. Everyone but Malcolm and Denise get voted out, and suddenly they're the only 2 players left, while the other 2 tribes have yet to visit tribal council. Because of how bad this tribe was, Malcolm and Denise then get split up and are put on separate tribes, and you would think this should probably be their end, right? They're impossibly outnumbered, and there's no way they wouldn't be the first boots on their new tribes with players they've never met before. Well, ladies and gents, this is where legends are born. In the face of severe adversity, Denise and Malcolm not only overcome this deficit, but manage to outlast almost every player on the season as they power through all the way to the final 4 together. What? That's what's up. They do find allies throughout the post-merge, but really, in spite of all the craziness, it's crazy to me that the 2 of them make it so far. It's very much the story of from zero to hero. Either way, Malcolm was a slightly bigger threat than Denise to win, and so Denise was able to sit in the final tribal and easily plead her case for that win, which she did, and she won rather handily. She was steadfast, composed, mindful, thoughtful, and a great speaker. I always got the impression Denise was very deliberate with her actions, except for maybe when she was faced with the firecracker Brazilian dragon, Abby Maria. Regardless, Denise is the personification of a triumphant underdog story, and now she's back to kick a little more ass.
The winner of Survivor Philippines, Denise.
So that's going to be everything for part 2. Next up will be the remaining 10 winners in parts 3 and parts 4. Let me know which winner you are rooting for the most, especially from these more old school players. Do these old school winners stand a chance in the more modern versions of Survivor? I'll be very curious to see what the answer to that question is. Regardless, my name is Peridiam saying thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video series thus far. Do not forget to settle your scores and win your wars on your way out. And I will see you in the next one once I take a deep breath. Because Winners at War is just getting started.
20 people with different skills. The one thing they have in common is they figured out how to use their skills to get to the end and win. And when you tack onto that, by the way, the prize money is double.
There's nothing left to be said about it. This is going to be the best season ever, especially if I win.